Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Danny's Life and Travel. And today once again we have another update on AMD. So what's been going on? So past week, stock's been going up. You know we've hit $14, 14.17 as you can see there. So past few days here down here it was around 11, and then we had the server CPU EPYC launch, and it's gone up. Now, because of previous good news, we had the cryptocurrency stuff, and previous to that, we had the RX 580 launch and all the rest of it. All that good news, every time it went up, it went back down again. So because of that, I was very skeptical. I thought, it's going to be good news, it's going to be great, but then it'll probably go back down again. Now, there's still a possibility that that could happen, right, ahead of earnings, and then on earnings it'll jump up. But the key point here was that based on what we knew, about the EPYC launch, the server CPU launch, that it was just that they're going to launch the CPU. What we didn't know was that they're going to bring out all the different partners that they had. So they had all the different partners on the stage, and the ones that we were aware of were, I think there was Microsoft, no, it was Google and Baidu, I think. Those two, I think. Not 100% sure on Google, but there was Baidu, definitely. So we knew that there were a couple of partners there, but we didn't know the full extent of it. So they brought out HP, HP, Samsung, and they had Microsoft Azure, and all these different partners. And what was better, what was really interesting was that they had already put the EPYC CPU within their products. So they showed off the new products that they were going to launch themselves. So they had new products, new servers that had the EPYC CPU in there. So because of that, it was really interesting. So not only are they saying that we have a product that we're selling, but what they're saying is we have already got customers, that are buying this and putting it integrating it into their servers and selling their service to their customers. So it's like saying I have a product and this is my sales force. So my sales force includes, all these different companies, HP, Samsung, so on. And when they provide services to their customers, including Baidu and everyone else, they are selling our product, in a sense, even though they're just selling, capability, if you know what I mean. So if somebody has some data they want to run or something they want to run on a server, they can then rent that server space for a short period of time. And the only way they're able to do that is because of the EPYC server CPU, where it's one of the key things they said was because it's scalable, because it's got Infinity Fabric, so it's got multiple CPUs on there. Basically it's just Ryzen CPU, 4 of them stuck together to make one EPYC server CPU. So because of that, they could utilize a small portion of it and not use all of it, or use all of it. Or if they need more than one server CPU, they can then connect to multiple server CPUs and use even more processing power like that. So because of this, they can offer more competitive pricing when they're pricing for their customers and allowing them to use the capability of the server CPUs. So this was really interesting. I thought really good. The other thing that it reminded me of was that everyone was saying that Intel has Purely, it's got Pearly or Pearly, I don't know how to pronounce that, but they have this new platform that's coming out end of July with new CPUs. Now those CPUs range from, I think it's dual CPUs up to 8 CPUs, like that, 8 cores, and there's no single socket CPU platform there. And AMD does have a single socket server CPU platform with the single socket CPU, and then again, that's interchangeable. So for coming generations, you can upgrade it. So you can just take that CPU, you can take EPYC out and then put the next one in, wherever that is. So on the roadmap, I forget what they are. I think there's Milan, and they've got all these Italian cities. It's named after them. But you can basically, it's future proof for a number of years. You can do that. So that was really interesting, so you can cut down the cost. And they were saying that Intel has that new platform coming out, so that's going to be a big challenge for AMD. I don't see that happening. I don't see how it will be a big challenge, because as soon as that came out, I started researching like crazy, trying to see if it was a threat. Because in the end, this is one of the biggest bets that AMD has. Intel has about 99% of the market on this, and AMD really wants to get that, and I think they will get a big chunk of that. The numbers were like 20-25% plus, hopefully. So we'll see where it goes. But the one thing that they don't have, Intel doesn't have, and same was with NVIDIA on the GPU side, they didn't have the Infinity Fabric, which AMD does have, and which allows it to scale up on the server CPUs and on the GPU side as well. And this gives them a huge advantage. And this is what really got me excited about it. It made me think, look, it doesn't matter what the others bring out, they won't be able to compete. Because as they try to compete, they're building bigger and bigger dies, bigger and bigger processor dies. And when they do that, it costs them more money. And then when they produce it, at the foundry level, they always have like a certain amount of the processes that don't actually work. So with AMD, they have 80% of the processes on the wafer that are usable. But most of them, the bigger you get, the more expensive it gets, and the less quantity you get in them. And the average is more than 50%. So if you're producing the processes and you get 50% or more that are usable, that's considered good. But AMD is getting 80%, which is amazing, right? And I don't think Intel or NVIDIA will get anywhere near that. So it'll cost them. So what it boils down to is that it'll cost them way more to produce, so they can't beat AMD on price. And so because of that, AMD will be ahead on price always. And then as for clock speed and the power consumption and so on, AMD is going to be going for 7 nanometer plus and next year and the year after that, and that will bring the die size down even smaller. And again, because they're able to use Infinity Fabric, they'll scale it up so it can be even more powerful, and so they'll be on instructions per clock and power efficiency and so on against NVIDIA and AMD, I think, for GPUs and CPUs going forward. And then nobody can basically compete with them on the quality of the CPU and GPU and the power consumption and the price. So they've hit all the targets. And then they've got, I think for GPUs, they've got Navi coming out as well in the next, I think, year, end of next year sometime on the 7 nanometer. So again, all of this setup is looking amazing. It's looking really, really good. But again, as for the stock, it's not always the good news that takes it up. It does take it up briefly, but then it can shoot back down again. I mean, the same volatility is good for short term, for day trading. I don't day trade. So, because I'm not good at it. The moment I sell out is the moment that it goes up, right? Even if I'm in profit. So I leave money on the table. So I have my set price in my head, which in my last video I said to you guys, even when it was at 11 or 10, I was saying my price target is $17 to $20, right? But if it is true with Navi, what I'm thinking, right? So in the coming years, then this stock could be worth a lot more, right? And I'm not the only person saying this. I mean, I think Jim Cramer was saying as well. And I don't put a lot of stock in what he says, but he did say that AMD is worth a lot more than what people think it is worth. So I think going forward, they've got a real edge. And there was another story about Jim Keller. Jim Keller was the guy who created the first, what was it, AMD 64 processor way back. I mean, this was in 2000 when the stock went to around $43, $46, per share. And he created it was really fast, and he was the first guy. So he also designed Ryzen. Right, he came back, he designed that, and now he's gone over to Tesla. And the rumor was that everywhere Jim Keller goes, that's where AMD goes in a way. So if Jim Keller's designed the CPU at AMD and then he goes over to Tesla, then pretty soon Tesla will be using AMD products, in the cars. So far they're using NVIDIA products, NVIDIA CPUs and GPUs, but they're saying that he's, because of him, they probably will use AMD products. And I do recall, listening to, because I listen to a lot of earnings calls and a lot of conversations by CEOs, and I remember Tesla CEO Elon Musk saying at one point that it's a very close call between NVIDIA and AMD when it comes to which products they use. It's a very close call. So I think at that time the reason why it was so close was because the AMD was going through a rough patch. They had the issue with the company nearly went bankrupt last year, so they ran out of money essentially. So they had to sell some IP to China and get about $400 million, and then basically keep going after that. But I think all the hard work has been done to an extent, and they have the leapfrogging method where they have 3 teams working. One team working on the current generation, one team working on the next generation of CPUs and GPUs, and then one team working on the generation beyond that. So there is that leapfrog thing going on. So because of all that, I think they'll be fine. I think where everybody else will have to build bigger and bigger dies, spend more and more money, burn a lot more cash, these guys can be a lot more efficient and just scale up using Infinity Fabric. Now they're saying that Intel is going to get something, they're going to bring out something that's similar to Infinity Fabric later on, maybe end of this year, early next year, but we still don't know how well that works. We know AMD's Infinity Fabric works and it works well, but we don't know about Intel's side, does it work? I think they call it mesh, but if they can't get that right, then they can't compete at all. I don't think so, because Moore's law is coming to an end. So it's the nanometer size is not going to get any smaller really. I mean, it's gone to 5 nanometers, I think, the smallest, and beyond that it's kind of stuck. It's going to be a long wait for anything smaller than that, I think. But we'll wait and see. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but the key point is at the very least slowing down significantly, if it's not completely stopping. And that means they have to find other ways to speed up the processes and get things done. And simply building bigger and bigger dies is not going to work. The Infinity Fabric is the only way, I see. So we'll see what happens. So overall, we've had a good week. You can see all that, and then I'll just go through the headlines just quickly. So this is about Radeon Instinct. So they had, for the GPU side, they had the 3 graphics cards. They had the Frontier Edition, they had the Instinct, and then they had the RX Vega. So the Frontier Edition was for the scientists, the bigwigs there, to do big equations and so on. The Instinct one is for AI, artificial intelligence and so on. And then Vega is going to be for gaming. So they are launching. They've already launched. So with EPYC, they launched Radeon Instinct, and the Frontier Edition is going to come out, I think, end of this month. So it's all coming out. The ones that are going to make them the most money are coming out first, and then RX Vega, which is gaming, is going to come out later on. So that's good news for them. They can get the money in first, use that money wisely, and then fund the R&D and move forward. And hopefully that'll show up in the in the revenue, in earnings. The other thing was the crypto mining is still going apparently. People were saying that there's the GPUs have been sold out on Amazon and Newegg and everywhere else. So we'll have to see in earnings if that's going to make a big impact. But really, everybody, I think, at this point is expecting an earnings beat. I mean, I'm expecting it as well. So it should be earnings, because they didn't have that factored in, and the response to EPYC has been pretty good as well. And I know that it won't show up in the earnings so far for quite some time, but you've got Ryzen that's been going on for quite a long time now, for a matter of months, and then you've got the GPUs, the 580s for RX 480s and 580s, so that should show up definitely. So that should be good. What else have we got? This is about the EPYC launch. So EPYC beats competition in terms of performance and power, reduces total cost of ownership, increase selling points. 10 nanometer purely isn't enough to save Intel's server dominance. So this is the same thing. This is what I was thinking before. So we're doing pretty good this week. Just gonna wrap this up quickly. I know I've rushed through it a little bit today, but I was hoping to just get the points across, try and make these videos a little bit shorter, to be informative and add value. But I hope you guys enjoyed it so far. But I think going forward, the stock could go down to some extent, but it's got a boost, you know, so it's not what it used to be before. Let me just go to the summary page and just show you guys on this. Yeah, oh, I forgot to mention as well, before I do that, Intel, on the back of this launch for EPYC server CPUs, Bank of America Merrill Lynch downgraded Intel. So this is Intel's chart for a year, 1 year chart, and it's at $34. So it's been driving down. So I think people know that, you know, they're going to take a beating on this. It's not gonna, you know, come out of this, you know, without taking some damage. So let's go over to AMD for a minute. So you can see on this, let's go on to the 6-month one. So this is where it dropped off a cliff. I couldn't justify this, didn't know why this happened. And obviously they were saying that it's going to be rebounding, so it rebounded to some extent. It always does. If it falls to that extent, then it's going to rebound to some extent. And then this was the real test where it could go further down, but you know, we had the cryptocurrency boom that brought it up, and then we have the EPYC launch, which has brought it up to here, and we've had a slight correction on Friday, 1.46% down, but it's nothing huge. And it looks like from here the momentum has picked up and maybe even resumed. And one of the key things that tells us this is, you know, I don't normally do technicals, but technicals here it was a negative where you had the 20-day moving average going under the 50-day moving average, so that wasn't a good sign. And you saw everything, you know, before this, everything was above the moving averages here, above the moving averages, and then it goes below the moving averages, pretty much. And then here it's gone up again, so now we've got a crossover again here, where there's the 20-day moving average going above the 50-day moving average, and then again here, sorry, that's a negative, isn't it? That's a 100-day moving average. So basically just this one where it's actually gone over. So it signals basically a turnaround, that the stock could go higher. They call it a golden cross. So that's what they're saying, it could go higher. So I think it can go higher than this. I maintain my price target, $17 to $20, guys. If you're in it, stick with it. If you're not in it, you can buy. I mean, somebody messaged me, I think they left a message on one of the videos, when should I buy? I've sold out. I said to them, it doesn't matter to me, you know, because I do long term, I'm not doing short term trading. It doesn't matter to me when you buy. I think it'll go up regardless. You know, if you have a long enough time horizon, you'll make money. I could have made, you know, quick money, could have sold out here. I did think about that before earnings, and then, you know, bought in here, sold here, bought in, you know, everyone thinks like that. You could have done that, but in the end there was no way for me to know. It could have gone higher here, could have gone higher here. It was all good news, you know. Here it was good news, here this was unjustified, so it could have just gone higher. So, you know, you never know. So if you believe in something, you think that the company is doing well, you think they're going to have good earnings going forward. And remember, this is second quarter earnings are coming up in a month's time, and then after that we've got Q3 and Q4 left, and those are the best earnings for this company, because you got back to school sales, and then you got end of year Christmas sales and so on. So, you know, it's all there. I think they will do well, and you will make money if you get into this, if you're not in it. And if you're in it, stay with it. So guys, I'm going to end it there. I know it's been a long video, so you guys take care. I'll see you next time. Once again, links in the description below if you're interested in the books again. And please like, subscribe and comment. Anyway guys, see you later. Danny out.